I did not set boundaries. And I just kind of, because I'm like, the work isn't done until the work is done, I really take that to heart. And when people see that, there's certain people who will take advantage of it. And once it happens, it's harder for you to stop it once everyone's used to you doing that than just setting that boundary at the beginning so that it doesn't even get to that point. So it's like, I'll do this thing for you, but then you do it for them, and then you do it for somebody else. And then finally it's just like, what can of worms did I open? So I think one of the biggest mistakes I made throughout is being available all the time. Because I always thought to myself, if someone is reaching out to me, in off hours, it has to be something important, or it has to be whatever. But once you set that precedent, it doesn't matter what they're just going to assume that you're going to answer. And if you don't, then it becomes a problem, even though it's like, it's a weekend, or it's, late at night, or it's whatever. So that really stung me because I just thought, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, I'm their assistant. So if they need me, I have to be there in every capacity. And I like now working with people who they understand that boundary, and they might still message, or they might still reach out at odd times, or whatever the case may be, but there's no expectation of me to answer, or they're not looking for anything. Like, sometimes, like, they'll literally preface it with just like, I just need this out of my head, like, nothing for you to look at today, or, don't need this till Tuesday or whatever day it is. And I really, really appreciate that. But that wasn't something I personally implemented when I was still, like, working corporate jobs. Yeah, I think that would be my biggest mistake, is not having my own boundary. Because I think a lot of people think boundaries are something that you, like, impart on other people. And it's like, no. And boundaries are for you. It's like, here's what I'm going to do if this thing isn't adhered to. It's not, hey, Pav, like, I need you to not do this. It's like, no. I'm not going to answer emails after 5. And if you email me after 5, I'm going to enforce, thank you for sending this through, but I'm not going to answer this until whatever day it is.
So you're saying the boundaries more with yourself, because ultimately you are in control of what you do.
Exactly.
And so no matter what, if this high-end client messages you, you can say, no.
Exactly. And I think the good thing about what I'm doing now, or at least how I've set myself up, is that it's not even a matter of saying yes or no. It's a matter of managing their expectations about how I work. So I don't know if you're like this, but, like, I have a hard time seeing unread emails in my inbox. Like, I cannot handle things not being answered or filed away or inbox 0. So, like, if you send me an email at 9-10 p.m. on a Friday night, I have to look at it and I have to solve it. So it's why I employ, like, schedule send. So it's like, I know I can hit send and send this to you right now, but no, I will schedule this for like 9:00 tomorrow morning, because I also don't want you to answer back tonight, because then I'll have to, it just becomes this cycle. And I try to impart that in so many people, because they'll say, yeah, but I don't expect you to answer. And I'm like, no, I get it. But the reason why I do what I do is because I can't handle all of this. So, like, just don't send it to me. Just don't send it to me. But the part with creatives, especially, if they don't send it, they'll forget about it. It won't get done, etc. So it's like, you just have to work within that. But if you manage expectations, it's like, they know I'm not good. Like, I'm not going to look at it. My notifications aren't even on. I won't even see that the email's there until I'm back online tomorrow. So yeah, a roundabout way to saying boundaries. Boundaries.
Yeah.
Not enforcing boundaries was my biggest like career mistake for sure.
Yeah. Okay. And you're better at that now. Would you
Oh
say
God,
it's
yeah.
solved? Or
Oh,
you don't have that? Okay.
I do not have that issue.
How long did it take you to get to that? Like how many times or mistakes? I know my therapist always jokes with me is that I'm definitely someone who needs to experience maybe or fear therapy, like
Yeah.
not that I'm afraid of any of so many things, but a couple things that I've been afraid of in my life that I've had to go through was like just going through it and realizing, you know what? Walking through that forest isn't as scary as you may think.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how many boundary setting moments did you have to have? Because I feel like as someone who suffers with that, and maybe people listening, for example, going through something once or twice, it solves it. Whereas in my mind, I think I have to go through it 20 times. You know what I mean? Nothing examples come to mind. But how many times do you feel like?
Up until I started doing this.
Oh,
Yeah. So I until I started working for myself.
Okay.
I was like, I had to keep looking back and say, what are the things that I absolutely hated about all of these other things? I cannot bring that like those toxic traits into this thing that I'm choosing to do. So like the thing about me is, yes, I'm going to have these boundaries and manage expectations and all these other words that we all say, but it's within my right to be flexible with it. You know what I mean? So, if they do send me something and I'm doing nothing and I have no problems helping them. Yeah. I remember there was one time a client, like it was during the pandemic. I was stuck in Mexico for like 3 months and great place to be.
Nice.
Yeah. It was a great place to be stuck. And a client had a friend of hers who was looking for a Black-owned funeral home in like some state that they were in. And I'm like driving in a torrential storm in Mexico. And she's just like, hey, I know your situation. I know where you're at, but I could use your help. And like, I had my phone, I had Wi-Fi. I'm like, by all means. And it's like within 15 minutes, I was able to send her 3 funeral homes in like North Carolina or wherever it was, to assist with this friend of hers who's going through this super hard time. So like, yes, it's not for my client, but my client needed help. And it took nothing from me to help her. I wasn't like, it's, hey client, it's after 5 p.m.
It's 5:01.
Yeah. And it's like, unfortunately, I can't help you and your grieving friend. And it wasn't even that they were grieving, but it's just like, yes, it's within my capacity to help you. So when I assumed that power and took ownership of that, it's like, here are my boundaries. But I can weave in and out of that as I see fit, depending on the situation. But prior to that, even like within the bank, when I was doing the 2 things, I was still like, staying there until all hours of the night working because, at the time, another assistant had left. So they just applied this other vice president's work to my plate. But like, they never talked to me about it. They were just like, you're going to now help this person. And I'm like, but you had a whole other human getting paid my salary or maybe even more, helping them. And you never you never said, this is now going to be your responsibility. You never talked to me about a pay raise. You never even asked if I could handle it. None of that stuff. And so I was just working ridiculous. And like, I never stood up for myself. I wasn't like, this is I mean, I could handle it. Obviously, I'm amazing, but I wish that I put my foot down because I'm like, this isn't what I signed up for, and if this is something that you want me to do, here are my parameters of which I will do it. And I never stood up.